Ed Miliband has provided really quite remarkable leadership in what has been a quite appalling revelation of the abuse of the overwhelming power that Rupert Murdoch has had. And I think it's an abuse which has, above all, affected individuals like Millie Dowler's family, but has also restrained Parliament and government, and has now looks to have contaminated the police as well. So I think Ed Miliband is now setting forward what the framework for the future should be.
Well, that's it. I mean, you know, this is in terms of the structure of the media he owns in this country. It's been like that for a long time, and as we know, Labour, New Labour, didn't always think this.
Well, I think that it was testament to the overwhelming power that Murdoch had, that actually neither the Labour government nor the previous Tory government took the action that was needed to be taken. I don't think the previous Tory government took the action because it suited them to have an anti-Labour press which had a big monopoly. And I think that although nobody actually, as far as I know, sat down in the cabinet room and said, we'd like to do this new legal framework on media ownership, but we can't because Murdoch's too powerful, I think there was just a sense that it was too difficult to take on the Murdoch empire because it was too strong. Now, Ed Miliband has just broken through all of that and just said this needs to be done. He's the first political party leader to do that, and I think it's going to bring very positive change, and I hope the other parties will follow suit.
But I mean, unintended consequences here. What could happen then if, who knows, if what you want happens? You could see papers sold, closed down. We've already lost one. In terms of media plurality, it's lessened. You could see BSkyB taken over by another group who closed Sky News, do whatever they like with it, a takeover you couldn't stop.
Well, I think the legal framework has shown itself to be wholly inadequate to the current situation. Remember that Murdoch was not only holding the newspapers, the Times, the Sun, the News of the World, but bidding to take over the whole of BSkyB. And it wasn't the law that stopped him. It was actually the revelations and Ed Miliband's leadership that stopped him. So we do have to have a new legal framework. We want a fair press, but we want a free press as well. So we don't want to actually kill the goose that lays the golden egg. That's probably the wrong analogy. We do want a strong press and we want a free press, but we cannot have...
You want a fair press as well. You think, and you think they weren't fair to Labour. So well, that's why, and the analysis is that's why Tony Blair and Alistair Campbell and others cozied up to them during the early New Labour years. I mean, you know, you were amongst them as well, weren't you? I mean, you presumably have met Rebekah Brooks and others during the course of your government years.
Well, I've not had a close relationship with News of the World.
But you must have rubbed shoulders with them. They were at receptions, International Women's Day. I've seen Rebekah Brooks there at Downing Street. The
reality is I haven't rubbed shoulders with them, but the point is now that actually Ed Miliband is setting out the path for the future. The revelations are still coming out and there are still questions that remain to be answered. For example, David Cameron hasn't explained what happened at the dinner he had with Rebecca Wade right at the middle of the controversy over the Murdoch bid to take over the whole of BSkyB. He had dinner with Rebekah Brooks. Are we to believe that he didn't even discuss the takeover with her? That is inconceivable. And then, presumably, he went on and discussed it with Jeremy Hunt. This is all wrong. So I think we've got some questions that still need to be answered, but I think that Ed Miliband is setting out how this concentration of power must never be able to happen again because it was too mighty for government, it was too mighty for the police, and actually it's Ed Miliband and Parliament that has stopped it in its tracks.
I mean, you mentioned there the third element there, the police and these new accusations, these new revelations about the Metropolitan Police Commissioner Sir Paul Stephenson. I mean, do you think it's getting to the point, given the Met's relations with Mr Wallace, the former editor of the News of the World, it does get complicated, doesn't it? But do you think Sir Paul Stephenson should start to examine his position?
Well, I think it's further testimony to the kind of overwhelming dominance and power of News International, that even their tentacles went into the police. Everybody's still asking the question, why was that original...
Well. I mean, that may come out.
Well, except that there was the question of why was that original first inquiry into the phone hacking summarily dropped? Why was it so inadequate? Why was there no investigation after News International admitted to a House of Commons Select Committee that they had been paying the police for information, which is corrupt practice
So
and is against the law.
What do you think about Sir Paul? Is he the right person to head up the force as it carries out these investigations?
Well, you know, I'm a strong supporter of the work of the Metropolitan Police. They are incredibly important for Londoners and for the whole country, and I want to see confidence in them. Sir Paul has got questions to answer, undoubtedly, but I think that what everybody is discovering, the police included, is there is no such thing as a free lunch, and to have accepted, as is alleged, £12,000 worth of gifts from somebody. What the public want is for government and parliament to be paid by the public and to act in the public interest. And what they want is for the police to be paid by the public and act in the public interest.